He's going to hear the siren and it's going to be devastating. 0-5 for Fremantle. But for Brendan Bolton, the first win, he'll never forget his first. This was an absolute ripper.
So in a tight arm wrestle at the MCG, the Blues beat the Bombers by 15 points.
So in many ways, a history-making afternoon for the Blues. They're going to beat the old enemy Collingwood for the first time since round 15 2012, and they get 3 in a row for the first time since 2013 in the process. Carlton by 15 points over Collingwood.
But there's 9 seconds left now, and that's going to make it hard, very, very hard. The last time they did win 4 in a row, round 18 to 21, way back in 2011. Wines with a big smack, but it's going to be all too late. Boat tries desperately as the clock ticks down. Boat's lost his pants, but he still goes after the footy. There's the siren. Carlton have won 4 in a row.
First, we knocked Freo off their mantle. Then we did a number 2 on the Bombers. For thirds, we beat the Dirty Birds. And last Sunday, we triumphed to the power of 4. I'm ODN, and once again, you are listening to the Big Footy Blues podcast. Joining me tonight, our editor, El Supremo, and all-round nice guy, ShanDog. Hey, ShanDog.
Hey, don't be spreading that nice guy stuff around. I got a rep, man.
Oh, yeah, you do. I'll back you on the boards for sure. And we are in for a treat tonight, folks, as we are once again joined by mainboard maestro and forever a Robbie Warnock devotee. The Wookie has come home to visit. Hey, Wook.
How you doing, guys? I prefer to think of myself as the man who knows nothing about football.
Well, there's a claim to fame, and you'll be taking that mantle off Happy Dude. Sorry, Happy Dude. Guys, we haven't done this for 3 weeks due to illness and inertia and whatever else. Or maybe we've just been celebrating too damn hard. So we're not going to follow our normal structure because we have some victories and player performances to discuss. Since you last heard from us, Carlton have defeated Essendon by 15 points, Collingwood by 15 points, and Port Power by 2 points. Guys, we're playing with an awful lot of passion and application out there. I haven't seen such manic attack on the ball and the contest and the player for a long, long time. We've been waiting for years. Is this just an attitude change? Is this a system? Is this just belief or confidence? We put it all down to Bolton, or the players really buying into what he's doing?
Yeah, I think you've actually nailed it a bit there. I was really pleased listening to Sam Doherty in some of the, and Kate Simpson as well, in some of the last few weeks interviews post-game and stuff, and they all talked about the same sort of thing where they were really confident in the game plan and what they were doing, and you can see that it's so much of a difference between what was happening under Malthouse and what's happening now. Players look like they know what their role is and what they're doing, and it just makes a team look so different, VFL standard compared to a proper genuine AFL team. And I think that's where it all comes down to is all the work they've put in pre-season, as they keep saying. And actually having a game plan to play to that's good and modern.
I think he had a good run-in period at the start where he was getting a feel for what people could and couldn't do, and then it all just started really clicking from like round 4 on. And it's been a good couple, and it shows how good a communicator he is, that he's been able to get that system in place so early in his first year.
Yeah, true.
He's not once has he complained about the cattle. Not once has he complained about, not having the tools for the job. He's just got in there. And in fact, he said exactly the opposite after press conferences on the weekend. He's got the tools. The people are getting the job done. There's a few kinks in the armour still, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and if you look at especially the last 3 games, the thing that's really pleased me about them is that, all the 3 past wins have been after being challenged in the last quarter or needing to either with a lead or needing to take the lead back, and our guys have held their nerves. So that says a lot about how well the coaching staff have done. Is there anything that Bolts can't do? Like, the guy just can do no wrong. He's getting talked up a lot in the media as well as like who's coach of the year so far.
He solved a problem really early on in the game that normally would have taken us a lot longer in the past.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
We lost Casbolt early, and we were doing that. We were still bombing it inside 50 for the rest of the first quarter, and that was really. It was like, well, here's the same Carlton we've had for ages. Something goes wrong up forward, someone gets injured, or someone goes out of form, and we've got nothing to aim at for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But then they changed how we did things, and you could tell that they'd decided to look for other options right from the start of that first goal, where Cripps hands it off to Tui on the 50, straight through. I mean, it's a play that we've seen before, but it set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah, no Levi there made us lower our eyes. So in a way, it's a kind of a blessing in disguise because, I mean, even if Levi gets the ball, he's a 33% chance of kicking it, sort of thing. But not that we don't need that structure. But Sam Rowe was able to keep that structure for us, and surprisingly, not surprisingly, because he's really working his way into things. Liam Jones has been very important for that structure, and he's creating a contest, and that's pretty much all we can ask of him.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, I know, and that's probably testament to Brendan Bolton again, because there's players there that we thought that their careers might be just about over, and he's come in with a clean slate, and he said, you do the work, and you'll get a go, and it's working wonders. It's sort of, he's only sort of getting the, 1 or 2 goals a game, but just creating the contest, and for a change, we've got midfielders coming through, roving with intent, and small forwards, the likes of Sumner and Lamb, have been so important to that structure. So, we don't have to take the marks and go for the set shots. We've got guys who are pretty fleet of foot that are presenting a danger for the opposition.
Yeah, and look how many players we've got who are having maybe not necessarily career best years, but certainly better years that they've had in the last few, and key players as well. Like obviously Jones. I mean, he's in the side regularly at the moment and doing his job. Rowe's looked better in the last 4 weeks than he has in the last year and a half, 2 years. You've got young guys in Lamb and Sumner who, now that they're getting a good run at it and able to play game after game, are really showing what they're worth. Even Wright, Wright was delisted by Adelaide. Was he delisted? Yeah. Because he, there wasn't really a spot for him. He wasn't performing to this, because he was a very good player back in about 2012, I think. And Dale Thomas, of course. So that's a good sign for the coaching staff, I think.
That's really important, and obviously the ones that we expect, we look to do something, and we've been sort of a bit disillusioned with in the past. But particularly Bryce Gibbs has
of course, Gibbs
stepped up to almost All-Australian standard.
Well, I'd basically written Dale Thomas off a couple of weeks ago, which caused something of a fuss in certain threads on the Blues forum. And I don't regret it. But he is making me eat my words, and I'm never happier than when a player makes me eat my words.
I have no idea what was with his kicking in the first couple of weeks, though. It was legit terrible. But now he can't miss a target, and not just little short, dinky 20-metre kicks as well. He's nailing 35, 40-metre passes.
But he's
breaking the lines with
running.
Overhead passes, he's done a couple of those. He's just his awareness of what's going on around him and setting other blokes free has been fantastic. You look back at those players at their best, so Gibbs and Murphy and Thomas, and adding Cripps to the mix. You look at those midfielders if they're at their best, and it's bloody imposing. And they're starting to get there. They're starting to look like getting back to some of their best form. So, it's important. We just need to add a little bit of depth to that midfield, and it's going to be a bit of a backbone for the next few years.
Yeah, it is. The big issue, I think, for us going forward in the short term is how the hell do we cover for Casbolt, Cruiser? I mean, there's every chance that Cripps might have to be rested as well against a big game in North. So many of these key guys to the structure or top performing players are now going to be missing for a few weeks.
Well, it might be time for Christian Jacks to finally stand up and be counted.
Well, he's almost a shoo-in to get selected now, isn't he? You better do something.
Well, there's Cameron Wood. I don't know. He's fit at the moment, I think. He's been playing reserves all year, been on ice. But if he's not, might be time. I mean, they might think about playing Matt Korchek.
That'd be a bit of a slap in the face, wouldn't it, though? Korchek getting the call up before Wood.
Well, I mean...
Did Wood play on the weekend? I mean, he was injured himself in the VFL.
They keep naming him. So, well, they named him for the first time in a couple of weeks, I think, on the weekend. But I don't know if he played or not. I don't follow the Northern Blues that closely. But, yeah, he was named, so I assume he wasn't injured. But
I think we do have to bring him in because I think Sam Rowe's too important either down back against the North Tools or actually going forward to present an option if we're not able to score up there, because he's he's somebody else that brings the ball to ground, and the best spoiler in the team.
You pretty much say that old Rowe right now, as of next week, is the most important Carlton player in the team. Just going to throw that out there.
he swings to either end and in the ruck. I mean, it's pretty crucial.
There's nothing he can't do.
He's going to play back.
Come on, are you bursting again?
I am a little, yeah.
Go on.
Rally!
He's almost certainly going to play back against North, though.
He'd have to, yeah.
I mean, Petrie, one of the most annoying things of recent years is how many times Petrie has bagged Jamo.
Yeah, every time.
And,
unreal.
It's Jamo and Lance Franklin. They are the two guaranteed to kick bags on Jamo for some reason. And it's Petrie's turn this weekend, and Jamo's out of form, so it's going to have to be Rowe, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, but then you're still left with who covers, Brown and all these other.
Well, Simon White would be coming in, I reckon.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, I don't know who we're going. Wait, I mean, Wiedering's he's a test, isn't he? But they give him another week, or I don't know. He's close. I just don't know whether he's going to get another week or not. But
almost have to play him at this point. Like if you're going to put in your best team.
Well, but do you just take the flogging and not risk him if it's a bit too early?
I don't think you risk him if it's regardless of how important the game might be. No one's expecting us to make finals. I don't think the club's expecting to make finals. I don't think you risk your best first year prospect in decades. On the chance that you might get a slim chance to win over North. I don't think it's worth the risk at the moment.
No, fair enough.
There's a whole season to build yourself up over.
Just on Matty Cruiser, obviously he's been fairly out of form or labouring with something early in the season. He had his best game for the season on the weekend while he was carrying a torn meniscus. So injured, second quarter? Early in the second quarter he was injured.
Yeah.
And spent half that quarter off the ground, had to come back because we only went in with the one ruckman. And Levi had already been injured, so he couldn't even back it up. So Rowie had to go and relieve in the ruck. But he had a fantastic game. It was his kicking efficiency is up, his disposal efficiency. He was in the 80s. He's been down sometimes in the 20s this year. It's been quite low, but just a little bit of a colossus out there. He was taking contested marks. He obviously kicked the winning goal, which was a fair kick for a snap. He was probably about 40 metres out. It's not a bad snap for somebody carrying an injury like that. So it's just such a shame for the big guy to, he just can't stay on the park, and to have a game like that and be gone for another month. You just wonder how he's going to come back and how long it's going to take him to work his way back into it again.
I thought Trengove had him early, to be honest, but then he came back in the second quarter like everyone else, and with a renewed attitude and a renewed approach, and off they went. He's going to be hard to replace. I think that was his best game for the Blues since, I reckon, the game against Sydney in 2013, where he dominated. So it was good to see him. I was sitting next to Numbers watching the game, and Numbers loves Cruiser, and just he thought he was fantastic. So, and
speaking of, I've been one who's doubted Gibbs a little bit. Like someone talking about redemption stories here. I was just having a look at the stats of the last three games, so against Essendon, Collingwood and Port, and he had over 30 every single game. He's had 30, 30, and 32, I think, touches. The guy is in ripping form, and I'm really happy to see that because as much as he's been a bit of a whipping boy, he's kind of deserved it. So it's
absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people coming out of the woodwork now saying, you guys should be embarrassed, bagging Gibbs out. But basically, Gibbs has validated that criticism by doing what he's done the last 3 weeks, because this is what he's capable of.
And we've been asking where that's been for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, that's right. Same as Everett, actually. Everett's in that same sort of boat. He's had at least two very good games. Did he play against Essendon? I don't know. I can't remember right now. But the last 2 games against Collingwood Port, he was really good. And
I think if you're talking about that, I think Murphy gets a mention there as well. I mean, he's running. Maybe it's him. The fact he's wearing a helmet, so he doesn't worry about his head so much. But he's playing with a renewed vigour as well. And I think that all that midfield is that midfield section of where Thomas is running through, Murphy is running through, Simpson's running from behind there. And Gibbs as well, and the new guys are playing in as well. Armfield's come back into the side like he never missed a game.
Yeah.
Don't forget Ed Kerner, who's having his best season for us.
And Ed Kerner, it's
who can kick the ball all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, that whole midfield is just they're having a stellar season, and that's where that whole wall running forward is that everyone keeps talking about.
Yeah.
So it is great to see. Like, they're all in form, all at the same time. And now, if we can just get those forwards to kick goals, we'll be laughing.
Our fitness has greatly increased. Last year, we just couldn't run anything out. We were gone halfway through a game sometimes, and we just couldn't keep up with people. And now, whether it's part game plan or part efficiency, as far as being able to know when to run and when not to.
Yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with it, to be honest with you. I mean, we're playing that one-on-one kind of style, and we were just chasing us all game the last year. The guys were burnt out. Now we're playing a zone defense. I think that's one of the great things of it, is that you expend far less energy if you're doing it well.
Yeah, so let's talk about that defense. So obviously we've already touched on Sam Rowe, and he's been in good form, sort of playing multiple roles over the last couple of weeks. But just the addition of Plowman, and who seems to work a treat. So seems to be very much in sync with what Sam Doherty does out there. Those two, they're twin terrors sort of thing. I've been criticised for labelling players too early in their careers, even on this podcast.
Well, calling Kerridge Judd was a bit,
Did I? I'm sure. I mean, Patrick Cripps saying that he had hands and vision like Diesel Williams. I stand by that. And saying that Sam Doherty is our Luke Hodge. And I stand by that.
I completely
somebody
disagree.
on the main board actually said that.
Completely disagree, because Sam Doherty's actually a good bloke. So,
but he's certainly playing that way, isn't he? He's the Mr. Fix-It, and the one that he's the calming sort of one on the back line, and that's sort of saying something, given that Kade Simpson's there as well.
Well, that's the thing. I think Doc has really modelled his game off Simpson, because Simpson at his best playing across the half-back line was running to intercept mark. He was hitting all the right spots to create problems for opposition forwards, and was running the ball out and kicking it out really, really well. He's now getting back to that, which is so good to see. But Doherty is playing just like that as well, kicking off the opposite foot, and probably with even more burst of speed and chasing and gut running, or just as good anyway. It's like having two Kade Simpsons there. It's brilliant.
Yeah, he's not that tall, but he's a pretty good spoiler of going up against big guys and whatnot, isn't he?
He's got far more speed than he did have last year, so it's something he must have worked on, a bit of power in the legs and whatnot. But he's just playing fantastic.
Yeah. Now the average age of our side that went out there on the weekend is something like the fourth oldest in the AFL, and I've seen people questioning, well, how much of a rebuild is this? You should be winning if you've got the fourth oldest team out there, which I kind of disagree with to an extent, because it's just because a player's old doesn't mean he's better than some of the young guys.
How does that saying go? Only on BigFooty is it better to be young than good?
Yeah. But we had all our all our 2015 draftees, including the rookie draft, out injured at the one time. All of them.
And we thought we were having such a good run with injury before the season started.
I think as well that there are two types of rebuild. You've got the rebuild where you go for this all youth, all the time mentality, and a lot of clubs can fall into that trap. And Carlton have done that in the past. And then you've got the rebuild where you get rid of 15 players and you bring in not just youth but a mix of experience as well that enables you, while you've got that older average list. And we talked about this before the podcast. If you take Simpson out of that, the average age comes down to about the same level as everybody else.
And Walker as well, yeah.
Yeah, Walker's been around since 2007.
Turns 30 today, I think.
Yeah.
2003 draft, we took Walker.
So I mean, you take those outliers out, and we're in the same bracket as everybody else. And we replaced 15 players over the summer, and some of those are experienced players like Wright and Kerridge, and some of those are very young and very up and coming, like Silvani and Wiedering and Mackay and those guys.
Well, Kerridge is only 22, rising 23 or whatever he was. So it's still in the right demographic for us. But Wright's obviously older. But Plowman, he was obviously 21, 22, something like that as well. So these guys have only had 3 years in the system. Sumner, the same boat. So and also Lamb. So they're all in that right demographic. When Malthouse at the end of last season, our stocks of 18 to 22-year-olds was quite low compared to where it had been. So even going back to the pagan days. So replenishing them is going to take time. That's why it's a 3-year rebuild, not a 1 year. And
they're about the same though at the moment, aren't they? Zero available anyway.
Well, zero available, yeah, absolutely. But as we went, Bolt's played Wiedering right from the start, and rightfully so. He played Charlie Curnow right from the start. From round 2. Kieran Byrne came in. He's only 21, something like that. So I think as long as players show some sort of form, I think he's prepared to put those guys in at the expense of your Whites and your maybe even your Walkers and certainly Jamison, who did find himself dropped from the side. So I don't think I think it's a bit early to start questioning the rebuild at the moment. I think by the end of the year we'll see who's been blooded and who's ready to kick on for next year.
Who's questioning the rebuild at this point?
We're just talking opposition fans, neutrals.
Mostly opposition fans of teams that we've beaten.
But that's all based around age. No one thought we'd be 4-4 at this time of the year.
No.
I mean, except me, maybe.
No, yeah. But the excuse. But see, now that we're 4-4, they're going, well, look at the age of your side, so you should be. So everyone that said we're the worst team in the AFL in the history of the AFL, and we win no games this year, including against a decimated Essendon. All those people that are saying that are now saying, well, of course, look at the age of the side you're playing. You're not even rebuilding properly. So, you're like Richmond, who rebuilt to not win a flag.
Yet again.
And that's clear. That's clearly yet again, but this time it was by design. So that's clearly not where we're at. I can't believe people can compliment Bolton on one hand, and then on the other hand, question what he's doing with the rebuild and the age of the side that he's playing. Give us a break. Have we covered all the players you guys wanted to cover? Anybody else you'd missed?
I did actually want to, if we can focus this for a second on, I think, how important Sumner and Lamb have been. I was really excited about them coming into the team, and I thought, gee, it'd be nice if they were both playing for the same time for an extended period. And a few people were sort of a bit, I guess, not so enthused by the idea of having them there. And it took a couple of games for them to really warm into it and to really show that pressure that they can put on. But these guys, Sumner's pressure in the forward line is absolutely fantastic. No better display than that chase down tackle he did in the last quarter against Port. But to go with that, he and Lamb, their finishing skills are just top notch as well. Their kicking on goal is safe as a house. So not only are they putting that pressure on, Lamb's a really good target up forward. I think he doesn't get the rub of the green a little bit when it comes to just a little bit.
Positively hate him. He's murdered an umpire in the past life.
but he more than holds his own there as a forward, and I think that is exactly what this team has needed, is a couple of genuine small forwards to lock that ball in as part of Bolton's plan, and it's just going really, really well at the moment, and a lot of it is down to those two guys.
What I'm most impressed with, because when we started looking at our best 22 and who we can fit in at the start of the year, we started thinking, well, Sumner's a long way from it. He looked a long way from it in the preseason. He had been injured. He wasn't really, he was behind in training and stuff like that. He looked, and I'm absolutely shocked that he's come in so fast and actually performing. We sort of looked at it as, maybe you can only carry one of Lamb and Wright in the side, because we sort of thought of them as being small forwards based on what we'd seen in the pre-season.
Yeah.
And we were discussing them, and then suddenly, and we also thought, well, Kerridge is going to be a small forward on occasion too. So suddenly we've got Kerridge, Wright, Lamb and Sumner in the side, but we're seeing them all run through the midfield.
Yeah. And doing a good job.
What we're used to with our small forwards. So they're rotating around brilliantly, and Lamb's up the ground quite a lot. And I'm not sure about Sumner. I mean, he's certainly going up. He's certainly roaming upfield. He's not always in the forward.
Not necessarily on ball, but Wright and Kerridge are. But it's still having an impact up the ground and then down in the forward line as well. It seems to me like everyone's got to be able to do that sort of thing at the moment. Play more than one position and be ready to move up the ground. Affect the play in the defensive 50 and then get to the forward 50 and finish it off. But we're doing it very, very well.
I think part of the early perception was that these guys were GWS offcuts and rejects, and so people were like, well, if you can't get a game for GWS, how good can you possibly be? Because GWS were pretty crap last year.
Yeah, look at them now.
Little did we know how it was going to turn out. And I think the other perception for some people might have been, when Liam Sumner runs out onto the ground, I thought he was someone's kid that was running out. And I said the numbers. I said, what, does this guy not know that the Little Leaguers start? Doesn't start till half time. No, but no, he's come on. In fact, they say that one of the keys to getting a high enough score is having your midfielders be able to kick goals. And I think we're on target to have they've got to kick 20 goals a season or something. And I think we're on target to have any number of our small forwards reach that target this year. Those midfielders, those small forwards, they're all going to do that.
Yeah, it is. We're getting goals.
It's going to be a better year than people think.
If it continues, and that's the big question. This is one thing I want to ask you guys. Is, do you reckon we can actually sustain it? I mean, it's first year under the new coach. Things are going great at the moment, which is an awesome sign to be able to pick it up that quick. It speaks volumes. But is it going to be sustained? What happens when, we've seen Kaz go down, Cruz is going to be injured. What happens when we lose Sam Doherty, God forbid, for, half a season? Or Murphy goes out? One of those, because, I mean, we've just been talking about how good those small forwards are, going through the midfield and affecting play in that area. But when our genuine mids, if we lose some of those guys, I think it could all come crashing down pretty quickly, unfortunately.
To an extent, but we're not playing that individual game style anymore, though. So
you still need the quality, though.
We need the quality. I see what you mean. I think the effort will still be there.
Yeah.
The system's still going to be there. And I think, we're going to scrap a lot harder than we usually would, and we're not going to drop our bundle as much. But you're right. We can't afford to lose talent at this stage.
No.
And even though I love the wins and I'll celebrate every win, and we want, we do want to be careful that we're not. Look, I think we know that we're not a challenging side. Yeah. Can we agree on that? We're not up there with the big teams at the moment. We're not challengers. We're not contenders.
That's defeatist talk.
No, I know. I understand, and you can. You're in the jungle of the main board podcast. You've got to stand up for yourself there. But just between just between us on the Big Footy Blues, like we have no expectations to be contenders this year. So it's sort of a matter of whatever happens. If we lose, we expected that we're going to have these losing times. We're going to have these down moments with this side. We've already accomplished far more than we thought we would probably for the year. You know, although I probably would have, you know, I knew we had more talent in the side than what we showed last year, and I knew because these players have done it before.
And then what we got credit for from neutrals and the media.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, like we know that Gibbs and Murphy and, you know, quality players, and if they stood up, that we were going to do better than people thought. But you can't tell them that because until they actually show that form again, as far as they're concerned, they're all washed up hacks who are never going to make it. So it's just. Yeah. So we sort of just have to shut up and put up with those jobs for a while. But it's a 3-year rebuild, and we've got to be wary then. We do want to rebuild through the draft. So I don't have an issue if they decide the young players start becoming available again or showing a little bit of VFL form, that we actually start playing them, because they're the ones that are going to be there when we're contending again. So if we start playing them and we have a little bit of a drop off here and there in our system, you know, or in our skill level while these guys develop, so be it, because we're not going to do a lot of damage to the top 8.
Look, I'm a little bit different, as you know.
You're very different.
And before the podcast started, I was talking to our stalwart host while ShanDog was off doing whatever he does with himself in the privacy of his own home.
Many things.
But I said to him, I was watching the footy as I do with numbers, and we were watching the Collingwood game, and I got up and I walked off to his balcony, and he said to me, Jason, he said, Wookie, what are you doing? And I said, mate, I'm throwing the lid out. I said, the lid is off, it's gone. And it's in the Torrens or something now, which is a fair distance from his house, and I'm not really willing to go look for it now. So I'm willing to bet that we're a little bit more damaging than some people think, and that I'm not saying we're going to make the 8, but we're only a game out now, and really there's only percentage in it. If we can start scoring, I think we'll be all right.
It's a very good, I think, attitude that you've got there, and I would love your take on exactly how you think we're going to go against North.
Well, I was a little bit more confident before the game started last weekend.
Yeah.
But losing Cruiser and Casbolt, that kind of hurts that a little bit. Look, it really depends how their replacements go. And I think if we get the right replacements, we'll be okay. But, if Wood turns out to be a dud, and Jacks or whoever comes in, Gorringe or whoever it might be, if they don't follow the team plan and they don't lift, then we're going to be screwed. But, North are undefeated. They've got a good team. If we get a win, we get a win. If we don't, I'm not going to be too disappointed. I've made my call for for where we'll be at the bye. That's 6-6. I don't expect us realistically to beat North or Geelong, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Brisbane and St Kilda after that, at Etihad, I think they're in the bag.
I'm just keen to avoid a 2004 false storm when we rose up the ladder with something like 10 wins and thought we, for one moment there, we were a chance to make the finals, and we fell short. And we did that by virtue of playing older players and top ups and things like that. So that was probably set us back a little bit on a rebuild, and we had to redo that again. So I as long as they play the kids and don't just go for purely playing their most experienced side so they can get a few token wins to fall short of the finals.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I think we've learned from all of that.
I think the rebuild's going to go. I just think we're going to do better during the rebuild than some people might think. And look, I think we are looking at the draw coming home. I think we are a realistic chance to be a little bit more challenging to the teams in the top 8. Maybe not necessarily threaten them, but at least offer us a competitive game. A more competitive game than they might otherwise be expecting in the run home. It
is interesting. I think there's not a lot more talk about, going into the start of this year, people were expecting us to finish bottom or second bottom, depending on what Essendon did, and the same thing the following year. I don't think there'd be too many people thinking that at all at the moment, and so it does pose an interesting challenge to the to Sauce and the team there of how they approach this rebuild. Hopefully, they'd already thought that was going to be the case and have planned for it.
Well,
I don't know if you can plan for the players picking up the system within 8 weeks. That's. I mean, you know.
that's the surprising factor, really, isn't it? I mean, no one expected them to pick up any new system this early.
Yeah, but they had the shackles released. I think I listened to something on AFL 360, and it was only Robbo, so take that for for what it's worth. But he said that Carlton players have told him we've never been taught that way before, right? And also that some Carlton players have said we feel like we've just wasted the last 2 years of our careers.
Well, supporters probably feel like that as well, I think.
I do. I absolutely do. I think they were confused and dispirited.
I mean, I was one of the more vocal people on the board about Malthouse coming in, and I reluctantly accepted him as the duly anointed coach by the board. But, the last 2 years, really, we went backwards, and we're coming forward at a nice rate of knots. So.
I thought I could obviously clearly see, just like everybody else, that the team was going backwards in the last year and a half or so. But even then, not until the very end did I actually think it was something to do with Malthouse. Even when all the talk was happening about whether we're going to sack him or not, I was thinking that it was all a little bit stupid and the team just needs to come together. But it really, you can't argue with these results, can you? It really was that guy. We just didn't have the right person in charge.
It's a change in attitude in the coach, though. I mean, Brendan Bolton is a very positive coach, and as soon as he'd done his little coaching stint at Hawthorn last year, I knew he was the man that I wanted to coach Carlton, and I was on that bandwagon from the end of that. Like that was, he was my man from then on. He's just so positive, and he is so positive. Not just in interview, like not just with the players, but in interviews, he projects a positive face for the club.
The way he coaches is positive, isn't it?
He coaches in a positive way, but he's also shares in the emotion of the players. Like you've seen him running out onto the field to give Simpson a big hug after the game and stuff like that. Yeah. So he's got that emotional side without being overly demonstrative, like say Ratton was. Oh. But he's got that balance, I think, to pretty much everything he does at the moment, and it's showing in the players. The players are responding.
This is why I don't trust him. To be honest with you. Too perfect. Is he a clone? Is he? Like...
But I mean, we're not. None of us are in Melbourne, so none of us were at the game on the weekend. But you could hear the crowd on the TV. Even like you could just feel it. You were getting goosebumps after the game.
And that was only a crowd of 26,000.
But even the guys on 7 were like, this is like 100,000 crowd. So I think everyone's getting caught up into this reset at the moment. And I like it. I like the feel. I like the positivity about it.
And from a club perspective, I think they've done a great job of communicating to the audience, to the media, to supporters, exactly that this is what's happening. The Journey production that they put together, fantastic insight, and actually gives hope to support. I think it's done exactly what they set out to achieve. That's give hope to the supporters, show them what's changing within the club and how we're going about it. And the second instalment's coming out during the bye week. I cannot wait to see that. And hopefully it involves a little bit of footage of, I'm hoping, through the first sort of 6-8 weeks of the season, so we can see how this has affected the players and the training and what's going on in there. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, plenty of fist pumping and tears in the ODN lounge room the last few weeks, that's for sure. It's been the most motivating, inspiring period of football that we've had in quite a while, really.
It's how you win supporters back. That's brilliant.
Yeah, well, and because for once, I mean, I know we've made finals in 2011, and we had the really good elimination final in 2013. As one-offs, they were pretty good. But this is when you're thinking that you're down and out, this is a nice surprise to us. So your expectations are low, then the results are high. That's when it becomes, the most sort of brings out the most passion and stuff. So I'm really hoping, I don't know what we're doing, but I'm hoping we're getting a bit of a membership boost on the back of this.
I think 1,500 away from 50,000 was the last figure I saw or heard on the radio.
It'd be higher than that. Yeah.
Which is a good result, mind you.
It's still pretty good.
Given where we were expected to finish this year and everything else, we had a slower start to the membership sales, so this is a good turnaround.
So, look, to wrap it up, obviously we're playing North this weekend. We don't want to get too far involved in it. We're obviously worried about how we're going to handle their big guys, and we're just going to have to, again, that team defence and sort of giving each other the chop out and stuff is going to have to be the order of the day. We had the three-peat against Collingwood. We had apparently it was a fourgasm against Port. What's this week? Number 5 alive. What are we doing? What is it? Are we going to win it or?
Just 5 the number of goals Kerridge will kick against North.
Now that would be worth the price of admission alone for Kerridge to sink North Melbourne. Winning goal by Kerridge, that would be fantastic.
Oh gosh, it would be good.
Break all the servers.
Yeah.
5. How many weeks Jared Waite gets for snotting Bryce Gibbs in the third quarter?
I'm really looking forward to this game. Like, I fully expect us to go down. But it's fantastic for the first time in a long time. I'm not concerned about effort levels dropping off or anything like that. And so I'm just looking forward to us fighting it out and hoping to see maybe Wiedering back or something and keep seeing the team develop. It's going to be absolutely brilliant.
I'm hoping to see Wiedering back. I'm hoping to see the same competitive effort we've been putting in for the last couple of weeks. I am expecting to get smashed in the ruck by whoever we play there.
Well, I still think we should be... I've posted this. Put a midfielder in. Don't even just...
Go the Trent Ormond-Allen route.
Yeah. I mean, Goldie's got 2 options when he's got a 185 centimetre person opposing him in the centre square, right? It's try and take the ball out of the air and kick it, in which case he'll get immediately tackled. It'll be a free our way and he won't do it again. Or he can smash it forward, in which case we'll just play someone behind the ball and we'll then run it into our forward 50 and Kerridge will kick a goal.
What if we played Andreas Everett as a running ruck?
No, because we need tackles. That's...
yeah, we need him to kick the goals. So
that's true.
I don't know. We'll just get Ed Curnow to tag him as.
That's not as dumb as it sounds. I like
it. Look, Wookie obviously thinks we're going to win.
And I do.
You do?
No question. The lid
no
is off.
Outlandish predictions, mate. It's not going to be. It'll be a tight one, you think?
No, look, I think it'll be close. I think we'll get up in the last quarter again. I think Jared Wade will get suspended. I think, or injured, take your pick. But I think it'll happen this week. We'll see him blow his stack. I reckon he'll try and hit Bryce Gibbs. That's my tip. But,
Sportsbet should run a market on this.
It's going to take a swipe at either Bryce Gibbs or Jamo if he plays. It's one of those things. Look, I think we can be competitive. I think the goal kicking is getting better. I think if there's one silver lining to having Casbolt out is it forces us to find other ways to get to goal. And not rely on that bomb forward, knowing Casbolt's going to mark, and then maybe he'll kick a goal, maybe he won't. We're looking for those other options as well, who may, in fact, be more likely to kick a goal, which I like. The midfield, I think we can win that midfield battle, and that's where we are. That's where we are winning games at the moment. We're winning that midfield and pushing forward, and if we can keep doing that, it doesn't matter who they've got playing at full forward. So I think it'll be a close game. I think we can get up. I don't see, as long as we have someone competitive playing the ruck. I mean, Wood can do that.
Yeah, you get what you get paid for.
Gorringe can just go and stand there and compete the tap outs if necessary. But Wood's not a bad player on his own. He can go forward. He can kick a goal. So I'm not that worried about it. It's who replaces Casbolt up forward. I think Jax might get the gig this week.
Yeah, it's almost a shoe-in that.
Or Simon White might get the gig forward, which is less iffy for me, but more iffy for me. But
I think he's underrated forward, to be honest with you. I think he can.
I think he's an underrated player.
Yeah.
I love Simon White, but my history of liking underrated players is
as it turned out so well.
How's Sean Hampson going these days?
Well, my boy Rowe is doing all right. So say him forward. I still think Rowe should be played forward. As soon as we can get a key defender to replace him. Then row forward could give us a couple of years of serviceable target because the guy can mark, the guy can kick a set shot as good as just about anyone, and he's 198 centimetres or whatever.
If Wiedering comes back this week, do you take row forward and leave him and Jamo down back?
Well, I would against probably any other team than North because they're going to play at least 3 tall forwards, probably 4.
Yeah.
But is it going to matter? Like I said, I don't think it's going to matter if we can keep doing that press that we're doing now.
Yeah.
Look, teams aren't getting it past our half back line, and that's what you want. If you can't get it out, if you can't get it past the wall, it doesn't matter who you got playing at full forward. Petrie can sit there and pick his nose all game for all I care.
The problem is once they do get it into our back line, notice with Port, they were scoring on the majority of occasions, so their percentage,
scores from
scoring
inside 50,
percentage when going inside 50, they were doing it most times. So that was the concern. So we had to stop that supply.
In periods of the game, they were doing it like that. We just needed to tighten up, and that sort of happened, I think. So.
Yeah. And we're improving week by week in these areas, so
true.
we're scheduled to kick it up a notch again. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think we'll be fine. Look, if we don't win, we're not going to get flogged, and that's as long as we're competitive, that's all I want.
I kind of think anything could happen in this game. Either North could beat us by 8 goals, and we're never really in the game, or we could make it a really tight one where they sort of only just get over the line, or if they don't pay us enough respect, we could snatch it and win. I really have no idea.
And if someone could put Lindsay Thomas into the fence, that'd be awesome.
A fan, security guard, anyone, doesn't matter.
I don't advocate violence, but just a little nudge in the right direction, that'll be fine.
Well, we'll no doubt when all this bit said and done, then Carlton are going to replicate their best winning margin against North Melbourne with 137 points from round 1, 1984.
Now who's getting
and Liam Jones will play the Warren Ralph role and kick 8.
He's due. He's due for.
He's due to kick 8. He's never done it, so he must be due.
If he sticks everything though up forward, Liam Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not doing a bad job.
No, he's not.
If he can get more of the footy, honestly,
I think he's picked up
the ball to ground.
Yeah, I think he's picked up on a lot of areas of his game, and the one that I still would like to see him pick up on, and I think I might have posted this earlier today, is after he goes for a marking contest, he needs to try and keep his feet more or get immediately back involved in the contest. But around the ground, he's still chasing and tackling and pressuring and doing really good and causing turnovers.
He doesn't have to be pretty while he does it. I mean, we had all Spalding as a forward. He just has to be able to chip. He has to just be able to be a good, solid
do that
contributor.
job. Yep.
And that's all we need. Mark, bring the ball to the forward. I tell you, like I alluded to this earlier, but Dennis Armfield, he has come back like he never missed a step, and just watching him sprint away with the footy on the weekend,
magic, isn't it?
It's just like what injury? It's hard to believe the guy missed 6 months of footy with a calf injury.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's an ingredient that's set. We've looked slow at times, and we've been missing outside run, and that was because we'd had players like Armfield that lost their pace even when they were playing. So we've had players, and we obviously lost, other quick guys who've left and gone to other clubs and stuff like that. So we look fast, and even if we're not as fast as some teams, we're looking fast because of the game style we're playing.
Yeah,
and
good ball movement, or getting better anyway.
We look fast without getting ahead of ourselves too. Prepared to make the switch, prepared to go short rather than long if we have to.
Knowing when to run and when not to. I mean, there's something we just couldn't do before.
Yeah,
getting the break on our opponents. Some of our players are just so good at actually getting space out the back, and but not going too early that they've wasted a chance to be used defensively if we lose it.
Yeah.
So, and just one more thing that kick from Mark Murphy to Sam Rowe for that last scoring drive.
That's class players. Yeah, that's where you need those one head and shoulders above sort of the rest of the team sort of players, where they see those passes, they hit them. That's the class that separates the best from the rest.
He was doing that all the time in 2013. When you go back to that season, that was his trademark. Like, he'd go inside 50 and he'd be looking for the pass inside, and they were all like that, like all the time. He could pick someone out, and I tell you, he's in some fine form. I don't know if he even needs the helmet now, or if he's just wearing it because we're winning while he's wearing it.
He might as well. I think it's a good idea to wear those sort of helmets because not to protect from concussion and stuff like that, because they really, as far as I'm aware, they don't. It's more about protecting from cuts and bruises to the head and stuff like that from elbows and
I think he wears it until we lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I honestly don't think he needs to wear it now. He's just wearing it because footballers are superstitious like everyone else, and we've been winning since he wore it. So
and hopefully he never takes it off.
I mean, I've been wearing the same underwear since we started winning. I'm due to turn him around again this week. So it's all hands on deck.
Oh, look, that's a perfect note to sign off on.
Oh, look.
Just in case, I know things can't come through this medium. We're not in the same room or anything, but I'm not taking any chances.
Look, sorry, I didn't come with the prerequisite amount of swearing and whatnot that your regular participants have.
No.
I didn't want to bring too much culture, so
I've nothing to bleep out this week.
I think there's a culture in your pants. If you're growing something.
Whole colony growing.
Yeah.
I am
everybody.
God.
Good luck on the weekend. Number 5's coming on Saturday night. We can feel it. Or maybe that's something else. But, nice having you both aboard. Thanks, ShanDog, coming in again.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And thank you, Wookie. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, lads.
And maybe we'll see you again when every other bastard deserts us. All right.
I'm here when I'm needed.
And we'll hopefully speak to you next week. Up the Blue Baggers.